Are you tired of eating steak that looks and tastes just like this? Me too. Well, what if I were to tell you that making an amazing steak is actually a lot easier than you think? In fact, it all comes down to one single ingredient. I'm going to show it to you. And that secret ingredient is love. And if you love steak like I do, then I'm going to show you how to up your steak game in just 5 easy steps. So you never have to eat something like this ever again. And make sure to stick around at the end of the video, where as a big thank you to all my fans, I'm going to let you guys in on the recipe for my next level steak sauce. Step 1. You want to leave your steak in the fridge for about 24 to 48 hours, uncovered and on top of a wire rack. What this is going to do is it's going to let the air circulate around your steak, remove some of that water content, and you're actually going to dry age your beef, which is going to up the flavor like tenfold. Okay, step 2. After you dry age your beef, you want to take your steak out of the fridge and leave it to rest at room temperature for about an hour or so. This is what we call in the kitchen normalizing, and what it does is it brings the temperature of the steak closer to the temperature of your pan. Why is that important? Well, if you try to take something that's ice cold and you put it into something that's hot like a pan, it tends to dry out your crust too much and you end up with a really bad texture. So it's very important to let your steak come up to room temperature, and that'll give you the best possible crust on your steak. Okay, step number 3, get your pan hot. And I mean hot, a lot hotter than you think. This step is absolutely crucial to achieving that perfect crust that we're after. The process we're trying to achieve is what's called the Maillard reaction. The Maillard reaction happens when the sugars and the proteins that are inside steak get pulled to the surface, and then when it hits that heat, it creates that golden brown crust that we're after. If you try to put a piece of meat into a pan that isn't heated properly, you're going to end up lowering the temperature of the pan far too low, and you're going to end up boiling your steak, and that is no bueno. Step number 4 is basting your steak. Now, basting your steak is where all the magic happens. Not only does basting keep your steak moist, but that crust that you work so hard to create is going to start to absorb all the flavors of that brown butter and that garlic and those herbs, and it's going to take your steak from here to here and make it absolutely fork tender. Do not skip this step. Okay, now it's on to step number 5. Now step number 5 is honestly probably the hardest step, okay? And this is gonna be let your steak rest for as long as you cooked it for, all right? This is the step where patience really does pay, okay? So if you cook it for 5, you rest it for 5. Cook it for 10, rest it for 10. Cook it for 20, rest it for 20. The reason you do that is because when you're cooking a steak, you're contracting a lot of muscle fibers, okay? And that's pushing all those juices to the center of the steak. So if you don't take the time to rest your beef, when you get your steak to the plate and you cut into it, the juice is just going to spill out everywhere and your steak is going to be dry as a bone. Okay, so this is a step that is absolutely crucial. Please be patient, it will pay off, trust me. I wouldn't lie to you about something like that. Alright guys, that's it. If you can master these 5 simple steps, then you are well on your way to creating a restaurant quality steak each and every time. So if you enjoyed this week's episode, please feel free to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.